Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the MMA Island UFC 259 prediction show, and most definitely the most contentious video on the entire card because I'm going with Aljamain Sterling and they are not. So it is my job to make my case why I think Aljamain Sterling is the best bantamweight on planet Earth right now. Well, I guess Mighty Mouse is because he's fighting at 135, but they call it flyweight, so let's just call it flyweight. One divisions don't count because they're weird. One championship is weird, but it's a fun watch if you're up at 3 a.m. And so there's a one card. I guess I'll check it out. It's good stuff. Anyway, they're coming to American primetime, but this fight is awesome. This fight is one of the best fights the UFC has put on in a long, long time because it is two insanely evenly matched, incredible bantamweight fighters. And bantamweight is my favorite division in the UFC. Petr Yan is an interesting case because I think he is legitimately one of the very best, but him being a champion is kind of weird. So I just see this fight as for the belt. The belt is vacant right now. They are fighting for it. And what I've seen from Petr Yan is obviously, you know what he does well. He trains at Tiger Muay Thai, so his Muay Thai kickboxing is excellent, and he shows a lot of the things that excellent Muay Thai fighters have. He throws really crafty combinations. He's super shifty. He throws these awesome trip takedowns. Like those trip takedowns are so much fun. He's so good when he's entering off the clinch and getting inside with elbows and high kicks. But he is fighting a different kind of beast and someone he has a type of fighter that he hasn't really fought before, and someone who is really tall, really long.
Sterling's only 5'7".
Oh, I guess they're the same height. Just Sterling's a lot longer than he is, and someone who presents a different kind of challenge. Because the first thing that Aljamain Sterling has that a lot of people that Yan hasn't fought before is really, really good defense. Aldo is a decent defender. Aljamain Sterling is better. Aljamain Sterling barely gets hit. He barely gets clipped. Like this guy, it's really, really hard to hit this guy, especially on his run, on this recent run that he's been on with wins over John, Stamen, Rivera, Munoz, and Sandhagen, which is just an incredible run. He's tearing through the division. And also his grappling. Aljamain Sterling, we all know, is probably the best grappler rounded out at bantamweight. First of all, he's just a great wrestler. He was able to hold his own with Romeo Bravo Young, who is currently a college world champion in wrestling and an American state, a national champion with Penn State. He was able to hold his own in a wrestling match with that guy. Insanely impressive, insanely impressive. And his jiu-jitsu, it might be the best in the entire division. It is so, so good. You saw what he did to Corey Sandhagen. Ridiculous. He hit an amazing knee bar on Cody Stamen, guillotine choke on Johnny Eduardo. He mostly finishes his fights by submission, but he's also really good at taking it to the judges as well. And another thing that I see from Aljamain Sterling is going to be the leg kicks. When Jose Aldo fought Petr Yan, one of the biggest times he had successes in that fight is when he kicked Petr Yan's legs. Those are the rounds that he won against Petr Yan, is when he implemented those leg kicks, and Sterling throws them hard. He was able to beat Pedro Munoz in a leg kicking battle, and we saw what Pedro Munoz did to Jimmy Rivera in his last fight just last week. We saw that. Sterling beat him in his own game of leg kicking. And the thing is, he's so long and he's so hard to hit. Petr Yan cannot fight at range with him. He has to get in close. And if he gets in close with Aljamain Sterling, he is opening himself up to the threat of the takedown. And he can't hang on the ground with Sterling. He just can't do that. It kind of seems like a tough situation for Petr Yan because if you try to strike at this fight with range, he is not long enough. He's going to have to get inside. He's going to have to clinch. I don't know if he can do that. I don't know if he can do that well enough over 5 rounds or maybe to get that finish. He's going to have to catch him with a high kick if he's going to fight at range. But overall, I just think that Sterling has more avenues to victory. And I don't see how anyone else can't see that. You know, he can honestly piece him out on the feet for a decision for over 5 rounds because he can keep him at that length. He can keep Petr Yan from getting on the inside of him. He can control him on the ground for 5 rounds, and he can also go for a submission. We saw what he did to Corey Sandhagen, and we saw what Sandhagen's done after that. Sandhagen is an incredible grappler. He's gotten some really cool submissions in his day. He made Sandhagen on the ground look like he was a novice, an absolute novice. And Jan's below the level of Sandhagen on the ground. So I don't know how Sterling is going to win. I just think that he is. I think that he is the best bantamweight in the world right now. I just think his well-rounded game, his striking defense, his volume, his takedowns, his submissions, everything he does is so good. And that's why I'm picking him to win. Explain your case for me for Petr Yan. You're not going to change my mind.
All right, Don, who wants to go first, me or you?
Yeah, I'll jump in with just a little bit. I think
Your camera's off. I don't see
Yeah,
you.
your camera's off. Your camera's off.
Hello?
Hold on, I'm going to pause the recording.
Yeah, I think it's funny that you mentioned the leg kicks because I've been speaking to people, in Team Yan, and that is the concern. That's the biggest concern that they have. They talk to me about, having to find that range early in round one, and they said to me that Aljamain Sterling's best opportunity is in round one. If he can hurt the legs early, if he can establish that range, establish where to land those leg kicks, not dissimilar to kind of how Dustin Poirier was able to do it against Conor McGregor. That was a little bit later on, but they see it as if Aljo doesn't do something big in round one, they think that they've got a clear path to victory. They're telling me that it's looking like a third round or fourth round finish for Petr Yan, and I'm inclined to go with that. I'm inclined to go with a round 4 Petr Yan stoppage. I think that I think he's too powerful. I don't think that Aljamain Sterling has fought someone as durable, as difficult to get to as Petr Yan, and I think that Muay Thai style is not going to be something he's going to like too much. And I'm going to go for. I'm going to have to go. Maybe it's a little bit of my bias showing because they've obviously got the Irish coach there, John Hutchinson, in the corner of Petr Yan, who's been doing a great job. I think I'm hearing that American Top Team were very impressed with Petr Yan during this camp. That they think he's he's one of the top. Obviously, he's considered the best bantamweight in the world, right? He's the UFC champion, but they believe that he's one of the great bantamweights that has walked through the doors of ATT, which is a great compliment. So I think, for me, Petr Yan, particularly with the camp he's just spent in Florida, is going to. I think Petr Yan is going to win. And look, they're telling me fourth round knockout is what. I did a betting preview this week for netbet.co.uk, little cheap plug, and I told them round 4 knockout is what I've been told, and it's what I'm going to be putting my money behind.
All right. Prepare to lose.
So
I can't wait.
Zach, me and Zach have for a long time argued about this fight since it was previously booked in October, I believe. September, something like that.
Probably even before it was booked, honestly.
This has been a debate of ours for a long time. I personally don't like Aljamain Sterling. I think he's an asshole. He's a loudmouth. I don't like the guy. I don't like him at all. He pisses me off. And I think
he can't handle the funk. He can't handle the funk from the Funk Master.
Zach loves him so much, makes me want to see him lose even more. Because I've listened to the man hype this dude up for like the past 6 to 8 months. No, probably longer. And I'm
every time I do, he wins. Most times I'm hyped up about a person, they win.
I mean, I feel like Sterling talks a lot of shit about Yan and stuff. And like Zach calls Yan the paper champ, but it's like
he won't be if he wins this fight. He won't be.
But like, here's one thing we disagreed on: is he doesn't call Jan Blachowicz the paper champ, and it's like
because he beat a good contender. He beat Reyes.
The definition of a paper champ, right, is when a champ vacates. So I mean, it's kind of the same thing. And although
different definition for me,
Aldo is a former featherweight champ, 2-time featherweight champ, and he arguably beat Marlon Moraes, a guy that put Aljamain asleep, made him do the dab
years ago.
I don't think Aljamain's gotten all that much better. I don't think he's got that great of a chin. I don't think his cardio is that good.
What? He's never gotten tired ever.
I think, Jan is the more, he went 5 rounds looking very fresh against Aldo.
But Aldo's never been tired before, man. He doesn't gas out. He goes to decision all the time.
He's also never fought 5 rounds.
That's also true.
And here's the thing. I I don't think Aljo's run has been that much more impressive than Jan's.
What?
I mean,
what? Come on.
Rivera.
Corey Sandhagen is the most impressive win that either of these guys have on their resumes. I'll give you that, but otherwise, I'm inclined to.
Pedro Munoz. Pedro Munoz.
Quality run.
I don't think Pedro Munoz is that great either.
What?
He's good, but
Come
he's not
on.
that great.
I don't know that
He's not that
much
great.
better than Uriah Faber. I don't know that.
I don't-
Oh
better
my!
than Jose
No.
Aldo.
Did you just say you don't think he's that much better than Uriah Faber? Did you
was.
watch what Pedro
I
Munoz did last week?
I
Did you
don't-
watch
I
that?
don't care. I don't care if he was robbed against Edgar. Yes, he should have won, but that was a shit performance. He should have fucking.
Was it? He won.
Yes, it
4
was. That
rounds.
fight. That was a really close fight. I think that Munoz won, but that was a close fight, man.
No,
that
was 4-1. Munoz 1-3, 4-5 always.
Yeah. Regardless, that fight was way closer than it should have been. I mean, Edgar's he's a bum now.
Oh,
So,
it's not that bad.
like,
That's a
honestly,
really
I just.
rude thing to say about Frankie.
Yeah, it's not that bad.
He's pretty bad now, man. I mean, look at his fight with even after Ortega. Like, he just hasn't been the same.
I mean, he's also fought like incredible fighters.
Zombie's
He
not
fights
incredible.
the best.
Did you say Zombie's not incredible? Man,
Not
I'm
at
about
all.
to kick you out. I'm
Not-
about to
not
kick
at
you
all.
out.
Not at all. Korean Zombie's not that good of a fighter. He's
Oh,
okay.
okay, we're getting off the rails here, but you just
I'm-
defended me
Okay, but
deeply.
let's go back to what we were talking about. You think that Munoz is a better win than either Jose Aldo or Uriah Faber?
There's
That's
no
what we-
fucking
I think
way.
Aldo might be a better win, but Pedro Munoz is a much like a 5 times better win than Uriah Faber,
Not
especially
5
now.
times. Not 5
In the
Especially
times.
fashion
now.
that Peter Yan did it to Uriah Faber. I mean, that doesn't happen to Uriah Faber very often.
No, that's true. Uriah Faber's not been finished much at all in his
I
career.
mean, he's also what, like 41?
Yes, I mean, look, he's one of the greats. He's one of the greats. He's been in there with all of these legends, and I think we're doing a disservice to Uriah Faber by arguing that he's not an incredible win to have on your resume, and then of course Jose Aldo, he beat Marlon Moraes. Everyone agrees with it. It's the same as it's the same as so many fights. Everyone agrees that Jose Aldo won, and he was the number 1 contender. Henry Cejudo retired. Peter Yan beat Jose Aldo, and he's the champion. I think he's the rightful champion. And yes, I do agree that a lot of questions will be answered when Peter Yan beats Aljamain Sterling. If Peter Yan beats Aljamain Sterling, that will silence the critics. But I think that people are being a little hard on Peter Yan right now, and I would imagine from what I'm hearing, he's going to show it this
And, like,
weekend.
Here's the thing with Jan is the man's not a bad wrestler. He took Aldo down like 2 or 3 times. Yeah, it was like with not your traditional takedowns with the trips and stuff, but
His trips are so nice, man. They're
all
so
those
pretty. I could
guys-
watch them all day.
he has like one of the best takedown like defense like of any guy ever. Like people
Yes,
always
he does. It's true.
And Sterling, I just don't think Brett Johns, that's not that great.
It's a
Stammen,
pretty good win. It's a good win.
not
It's a
great.
good one.
It's a good win.
Not as good as Faber.
Stamen's a better win than Faber. It is.
It's not as good as at least Aldo, Rivera, and maybe Dodson, but
I mean, Sterling also beat Rivera, and then he beat Munoz, and then he beat Corey Sandhagen.
like
Look, Corey Sandhagen is the best win on either of their records.
Yes.
That's something we can all agree on. And the way he did it, I can't imagine if Sandhagen fought Peter Yan that Peter Yan would defeat him in such a dominant fashion. So yeah,
No.
I agree that that's the best win on either resume.
I also think if those two were to rematch, I think that goes down differently. I don't see it going down the same. I'm not saying Sandhagen wins, but it doesn't go down the same.
We'll see.
Right.
When they fight for the belt.
But I just think that Petro Jan. How do you say his fucking
Piotr.
I know it's not Peter. I always say Peter. Piotr Jan. I always just call him Jan because I suck at pronouncing his name. But I just think he is the far better striker. I think he's probably got the better gas tank. I think his wrestling holds up, and I think he just drags Sterling into deep waters, and we'll put him away in the later rounds, 3 or 4.
Well, as you can see, there's a lot of bad blood when it comes to this. It creates.
I want to see Sterling do the dab again, man. I would love to see him get stuff.
And I can't wait to be all caps hype in the chat once Sterling is able to get the win. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this. That I'm sure in terms of entertainment value, this will be the best one to watch, but I implore you to keep on watching. You've come this far. There's 2 other title fights to talk about. Make sure to check those out. We'll see you in the next one.